Hello and welcome to the space that gives you inspiration on work, on life, and how to balance both worlds. Guys, we're at the final quarter of the year. We have October, November, and December. And if you've not been able to hit your goals through the year, you know what? Chillax, relax. Now is the time. Chill everything you were thinking that you would have done this year, wherever it was, at whatever stage it's at. Chill, okay? If it's not done, if it's not finished, chill. Now is the time for you to start looking at 2023. Because honestly, 2022 is quote unquote gone, okay? We need to now start looking at 2023. And when you're looking at 2023, we are going to start working on everything that you need to do to get prepared for 2023. And you're going to do those things October, November, and December. So that when you start January 2023, you're ready and you're good to go. So whatever dream, whatever vision, whatever goal didn't make it for 2022, darling, let it go, okay? And let's start afresh. Let us start with a new mind that whatever it is that we are going to do, that we wanted to do, we are going to re-strategize and put it for 2023. Don't try it for 2022. You leave it now. Just leave it. We're not going to work on 2023. And if you're looking for a space where you can do that, I want to invite you to the Annual Personal Planning Getaway. That's a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday. Come together. You're going to come and join other people who are like-minded, wanting to plan their lives and live a life of intentionality. Come and join them and get even an accountability partner who knows how you, who at least has been part of the process of planning and therefore knows what planning is and can plan with you, okay? Instead of getting an accountability partner who plans in a different way or doesn't plan at all, okay? So this is a space where that is going to happen. So for all the details on the Annual Personal Planning Getaway, get to the first comment in on this post, or even just in the description box. I'll give you everything, including the venue, the price, everything that you need to know about the 2022 Annual Personal Planning Getaway. All of that is in the description box and the first comment of this post. Okay, so let's dig in. I thought that this month we could do a series on creating a system for your life, or creating a life system. And I remember sharing with you last year on what a system is, and I was able to explain to you the difference between a system, a process, a procedure, and we were able to go through even my own systems. But how about if you want to create your own systems? What exactly would you need to do? And that's what I would like to focus on this entire month. I'm excited for it because I've seen what systems have done for me, and yet I've not even been able, I'm just scratching at the surface because I've just only started. I'm just quote unquote perfecting my art on living a life with systems. I've shared earlier with you guys why for me systems are important. They never were before because my character, I'm sanguine, predominantly sanguine actually, until I got into a depression and things changed for me. I was happy living a life where life happened to me and I just enjoyed it and I had fun and I was spontaneous and all of that. And there's nothing specifically wrong with that, especially if you have no problem with it. But for me being like that, unfortunately, after years of being like that, led me into a depression to the point that now I needed to plan differently. But also I feel that the spontaneity in myself and the sanguine in myself is actually on its way back. It's just that it's on its way back to a more organized self. So I feel like I needed to create systems in which my sanguine nature could thrive, because without a system, without some form of structure, I was everywhere, okay? But now children came in, a marriage and a family and a home came in, and extra responsibility came up, that I truly needed some form of structure, some form of systems for me to be able to thrive, because I was really just existing, and it was exhausting to the point that I was anxious and I was getting a depression. I was in depression, and I've shared my story with you guys. And so I just thought this month, let's talk about creating a system for your life. And so this system will really just have different systems within it. And so I'm going to just share with you how I came up with my own systems, and therefore how maybe you might consider creating your own systems. Now, here's something else that I want to say about this entire process. Nothing is new. To be honest, nothing I'm going to say is new. It's just that it's going to be more organized. The thought frame around it is going to be quite organized, at least in my eyes. So you on your own could be able to come up with your own way of organizing it. I'm going to just share with you how I created my own systems. So it's really everything you've done before. You really have. It's just, putting it in a tight little knit box and tying it up in a cute little red bowl and enjoying the present that is life because of it. So anyway, I think the first system that I want to enter, or I want to introduce you to, that I use, is my work-life balance system. So it's kind of like the umbrella system of everything, okay? My work-life balance system. So under my work-life balance system, I hope you remember that there's no such thing as work-life balance, right? There's everything like work-life choices. We've talked about this before, so I don't want you to be misled or think that I'm misleading you. There's no such thing as work-life balance, okay? Nothing. But so anyway, the first system that I have is my work-life balance system, and it has 5 steps inside it. So the first one is strategy. And under strategy, it's really a place of where do I get the strategy for my life? And for me, that comes from the throne room, prayer, spending time with God. And when I say God, I mean both in the word, but also just in silence and in a place of just listening to what he has to say. That's where I get strategy from. When you look at the Bible, I don't know how many battles the people won, kings won, because they got strategy from God. And sometimes he'll tell me, like in the Bible, for this particular battle, go and sing. For this particular battle, go and walk around in circles 7 times. For this particular battle, get the men who are getting water using their tongues and not the ones who are using their hands. For this particular battle, get this kind of armor. And for this particular battle, so depending on what the battle is, I know God will give me a strategy. So for me, the first place is at the throne room, and everything else just comes after the throne room, because now I have to plan, how am I going to, if you're showing me the strategy is the men who are drinking in a certain way, where am I going to get the men? Where are they going to drink from? That I might see those who I'm going to have to work with. If it is for walking around the wall 7 times, okay, in which direction am I walking? What song am I singing? Who's blowing the trumpets? All of that has to be planned out, but the strategy has been laid. So for me, strategy first comes from the throne room, and it's the beginning. Okay, so like I said, nothing is new. You already pray, right? It's just now kind of like organizing it. Yeah. So for me, the first step in my work-life balance system is prayer, strategy, where we set the strategy. The second one is planning. Now, I don't know how many times I talked about planning, right? In fact, I feel that I have talked so much about planning that you guys are just like, we're exhausted and we're tired of you talking about planning. But it's that important indeed. Yes, I've gotten the strategy from the throne room. I know what's going to happen. But there's got to be some planning that's happening, okay? There has got to be some way that we are planning what's going to happen. At what time are we going to go to the wall of Jericho? At what time are we going to walk around? Who is going to come and walk around? What's going to happen when we get there? How do we start walking around that wall? All of that has to be planned for, okay? So you're setting your goals and your objectives at that point. And I believe that's why in the scriptures, that's why the Lord says, you know, for people that plan, he orders their steps. Like he knows, like he's going to make it happen, okay? Their goals and their dreams are going to be accomplished because they've planned, okay? So for me, that's the second step in my work-life balance system. The third step that I have is organization, right? Yes, planning and organization are two different things, okay? One is more high level, and the organization is really about managing your resources. So managing your time, managing labor or the people around you, and then managing money. Yeah, if you say that you're going to have you're going to have a birthday party, right? Wonderful, wonderful thing that you're going to do. But where's the money going to come from? Who's going to cook the food? On which day and at what time will that party be? That's when organization comes into play, okay? So in the examples that I've been giving about the Bible, right? Going to the wall of Jericho, who stands at the front and who stands at the back? Because people are going to get tired walking around 7 times, okay? Some people are going to get exhausted. Some people are going to say it's not going to work. So you want to put the people who are very energetic at the front and at the back. You want to put the people who are very supportive and will keep saying, yes, let's continue, let's walk, let's do this. All through the middle, so you see that you're planning resources, you're planning your time, you're planning your money, you're planning the people around you in a way that you can be able to accomplish the plans, which are from the throne room, which have come from a strategy right from the throne room. And then the fourth that I have in that is execution, like the actual carrying out of the plan in an organized way, right? I hope that makes sense. That yes, we have planned, okay? We have also managed or looked at how our resources are going to be distributed. That's in time, in money, in labor, okay? Now, the actual execution, doing the thing, because I feel that sometimes people who plan a lot sometimes fail to execute. Yes, there's a problem with people who just come to execute, no strategy, no plan, no form of organization. They just start to execute. They wake up in the morning to just execute, okay? To just do. Or the process of strategy, planning, and organization happens in the flip of a second, okay? There's that problem. But then there are those who plan and then plan again, and then plan one more time, and then a third time, and then a fourth, and then plan again. And then after they finish planning, they plan one more time, and then they plan, and then they think about it, and then they watch. If you've planned, there has to be a time for you to execute. You have to do these plans. If you say that you're going to look for money for your organization, okay, which is the #1 role for every CEO, okay? If you say you're going to look for money for your organization, and that means you're going to apply for funds, for grants, well, somebody, you, has to sit down, go on the computer and Google organizations that fund early childhood. Look at all of them, go onto every one of those links, read through the websites, see that there is an opportunity for you to apply for, click the apply, and actually write your application form. Okay, if you're going to plan the meals that you're going to eat, okay, so you've planned the meals that you're going to eat, you've written down your meal plan. Can we please cook? Can you actually go and buy the tomatoes, the onions, but bring them home? You know, some people stop at that point. Things get spoiled, yeah, because now you're still eating out even after you've gone to the market and bought all of this stuff. You've bought passion fruit, you've bought lemon, you're going to do juice. 2 weeks later, things have become shriveled inside your pantry like this because you didn't do the actual squeezing of the juice. So the execution actually has to happen. Okay, if you say that you're going to lose weight and you have this great plan about how you're going to lose weight, the food that you're going to eat, you've even written the food that you're going to eat, you've even paid for the gym. If you don't go to the gym and actually work out, because some people go to the gym but don't work out, okay? Constantly calling, oh coach, that is so difficult. I will only do 3 sit-ups. Oh coach, that is so difficult. You mean there's no Zumba? Oh coach, that's so difficult. You mean there's no fun way of doing this? Can you just do the exercise? So the actual execution of the plan is an important step in this system of mine. And then the last one that I have is my performance. Okay, how have I done? Right? So monitor and evaluate how I've executed and how I've planned, because sometimes you find that your problem was at strategy. And when I say your problem was at strategy, you're like, Manuela, your problem was at prayer. Yes, sometimes we pray the wrong way. And so to be honest, I actually went and did a prayer course because I was just like, I'm not going to go and do strategy and I don't do it right. I really do have to do. And guess what I found out while I was doing my prayer course? The coach said something that was so important that time. She said, and I'll never forget it, she said something to the tune of, some of you, when you go to the throne room and you hear from God, you get so excited, you get up and go and execute. And yet he has not finished what he was telling you to do. I'm like, oh, okay. So if you're starting to plan for 2023, now is the time to start sitting in the throne room to ask about 2023. You don't ask on Jan 1st. Because on Jan 1st, he will give you the first step, the first thing to do, you go and start. No, sit down and wait for the entire plan. By the time Jesus, this is my best example, getting excited. By the time Jesus came to die on the cross, he knew he had seen how it was all, he knew how it was all going to happen. It didn't just come by mistake. And how did he know? It didn't happen when he was in heaven. Absolutely not. Because he was a son of man. But guess what? From the time he was a baby, all the way to when he was 30, what was happening? He was hearing the plan, such that when he hit 30 like this, by 33, 3 years later, he had finished what he had come to do on earth. Oh, Jesus. Imagine if we did that. If we said for 30 years, I'm going to listen in and hear and lean into what God has, what his plan is for me. And then the day he says, go, you go. 3 years later, you'll be done with what you're supposed to do here on earth. But we labor. We move before time. Okay, I'm a culprit. So anyway, like I was saying, you ask yourself at the point of performance where you're monitoring and evaluating and saying, did I do it right? Was I right at strategy? So I'm asking myself. Okay, so for me, performance happens in 2 ways. The first person I'm kind of like monitoring and evaluating is my accountability partner. So we are asking, how did we do at strategy? How did we do at planning? Maybe the problem was at planning, like we got the strategy really well, but the planning we messed up, okay? How did we do at organization? Maybe this organization was so good, but the plan was so wrong. Just to be able to monitor and ask ourselves, where did we go wrong? Where did we go right? Therefore, how well or how not well we do. Then even at the point of execution, you can do well at strategy, do well at planning, do well at organization, and do horribly at execution. So for me, at that point, talking with my accountability partner helps me look at how well I did what I said that I was going to do. But the other person that I check with is back in the throne room. You see, the scripture is so clear about his word. It says, that he sets his word and that word cannot go back to him void. Okay? And how does God speak to us? He speaks to us through his word. So that means his word cannot go back to him void. Okay? So there's so many ways you can see it, but I remember my business coach sharing with us about the fact that many times, or in a Rhema word that she got, it meant that if he set his word to you, you need to go back. If he has told you that you need to do this, go back to him and say, okay, come. You told me to apply for grants. These are the grants I've applied for. I've applied for this grant, this grant, this grant, this grant, this grant. And this is how I applied. What do you think? What can I do better? What should I do? I'm saying that in Uganda, but in English it's, Lord, what should I do? Okay, go back to the throne room to report. He gave you a word, you did it. That word cannot go back void. So go back and report what. How does that system sound to you? This work-life balance system, or this life system? Let me know in the comment section. I'd like to know. And if you want to create your very own system, I'd like to invite you to the Annual Personal Planning Getaway. Where we will come together with like-minded people to plan the year 2023. Can't wait to see you. See you next week.